Hey guys, good afternoon. This is Chris with Husky Trading Solutions. Wanted to go over, I wanted to go over one of the trades that I took in class today. Monday morning, we never know what we're going to get, what type of market activity. Typically Mondays could be, any of you guys who have spent some time trading futures, it's not always the greatest day, but today we caught a pretty good rip in the Dow. Before we go through that, let's take a look at this for a second. All right, carry on. All right, let me get my drawing tools here and we will get started. Make sure they work. All right, so essentially what we have here is our 30-minute chart, and we're going to be looking at some Wick zones, some supply-demand zones, and I do have some other videos out on those topics. If you haven't gone through that, you may want to take a look. But essentially what we are doing is we're going to examine last week, Friday's close. We can see over here we had that monstrous down day, so that's kind of still what we're battling here and trying to gauge some trade calls off of it. There was a couple after that session. There was a pretty nice area here for a short in the June 17 Dow futures, and there was even a nice little rip lower here on Friday. But we came into the weekend a little bit short-lived, but essentially what we want to be able to see and what I'm identifying here is these 30-minute wicks and where we can determine origins of where the market is selling. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. Anything up top is considered demand zone. Anything on the bottom is, opposite. Anything on the top is considered supply. Anything on the bottom is considered demand. But what I did is a little prep work this morning was take a look back a few days and see what I could get. So we have our Globex session opened up Sunday night. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out a couple of these areas first to kind of see. This is giving me my my playing field of the week. So this is more than likely going to expand upon it. Gratefully, we hope we want to see some movement and volatility. But essentially what I have is the top of a wick right about here, and what I'm really looking for is these opens and closes. So just for this example, I drew the top, but here I have a demand zone drawn at the bottom. But again, this is Sunday night. There's not really a whole lot going on. The range is relatively narrow, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look a little bit farther back and see where price activity took us. So we can see that we have something here I'm paying attention to, and even better, we have something here. Okay, that's the top of an area. We're also going to look at that, how we determine that in our market profile charts. And we're also going to take a look at some of the stuff that we have on the bottom. But for relevance here, what I was looking at was at the top, and I wanted to see how we are going to react to some of these areas. So first thing, we'll go a little bit forward here. And we can see as we've come into the open of today, okay, this is Monday 4/10, I can see we got a big green bar. This is driving up towards the top of our Globex range. I want to see how that behaves. I did actually take a short one position here, and eventually we can see here that I got stopped out. So I took my loss, move on. Nothing big. I think 75 bucks or something, so not really any big deal. But now I can see that we have traded through these areas, and we're sitting right up here on the top. Okay, so that was a very good sign. It's something I wanted to see. Now let's see how this looks in market profile. Okay, so keep in mind where this 30-minute period stopped, and also take a look at what's happening here. This bar opened up and at one point was solid green. Okay, came all the way back down and closed. That's telling you something right there. That is a sign of weakness. If this market was going to blow right through all this stuff, we'd want to see green bar after green bar after green bar. All right, so that's a pretty big clue right there that I was onto something good. All right, get that chart out of the way for a little while. Let's examine what we can see here. Now, here's our 30-minute market profile chart. This is this area with lots of volume in it, acceptance area. Here's that big down day, and again, this is the day that was represented by all the red bars on the 30-minute candlestick chart. So what we can see here is an area of single ticks. This is telling us that the market was driving and you had lots of directional selling going on here. So very next day, got back up, filled in these single ticks here, drove down again. Okay. That's a trade that I took. Next day, opened up, traded back up inside this area, so inside these two wick zones, and we can kind of see how that was created. So that was another possible short trade up here. So this area has been very good. Every time we come back up and get to this level, sellers come in and just stomp it back down. That's exactly what we want to see. So shortly after our initial balance, we ran up. Okay, tested this area again, right into that wick zone based on our 30-minute candles, came back up, and what it did was it gave us an entry. Now sometimes we're going to see reversal patterns, sometimes we're going to see double tops, so we have to be ready for all of it. But now we're going to take a look at what it looked like on our tick chart. Okay. That brings us to right here. So essentially what we want to see is price test these tops and test what we can determine to be an acceptable area on our 30-minute market profile. And that's going to give us a sense of entry, and it's also going to give us a sense of risk. So once we got up to this point, we're looking for a pattern in these tick charts to find an entry and give us an idea of what we're risking. So essentially what we're risking is the top of those wicks. Stop order in there, risk is not very great. Okay, so this is what we want to look for over and over and over again. Now, the only two trades that I took today was the small loss down in this area, and then got it in this one, and essentially what I'm doing is looking to lock in my initial risk. So that's what this cover here, and again, if you're not familiar with this platform, this is what my entry is. So it's the top of the area within the wick zone. We can see again in between these two red lines, and once the market starts to move in our favor, we want to be able to take something off, potentially look to add on, but this was pretty much just a straight shot, 2 contracts in, 1 contract off, just to lock in a little bit of profit. We never know which way this is going to go, but we have an idea when we can see certain signs of where this thing may be heading. And then once a new low was created, we can start trailing down that stop. Okay, we get some nice drive bars taking us down even farther. And just to be aware, remember that green line that we drew in as our demand zone. This was the first test. Excuse me, getting over a little bit of a cold here. This was the first test of that demand zone down at the bottom. So this is something where, depending on how many lots you have, it may be 3, 4, 5, 6 lots. You have to be ready for all of it. Different traders are going to be trading different sizes. In this example, I only traded 2 contracts, but this would be an ideal place to cover. Now, following our stop parameters, what we want to be able to see is a nice jump to be able to move our risk down and keep trailing. So at this point, we can kind of look back at this structure and see, well, if the market trades above that and especially now that we're underneath the 200 period moving average, which is represented by this green line, we want to see the market still stay below it. So, you know, any type of stop, you already know that you're in a winning trade. I mean, look at how far this market has gone so far. So we want to be able to kind of remain a little bit lenient, let this thing do what it's going to do, and, you know, now test this market from underneath. We have a whole moving average represented in yellow. This thing is just heading straight down at a very sharp angle. That's telling us that there's still a lot of selling or potential sellers coming into the market. And this 200 hooked, never made it through it, so we're still in it. Finally brings us down or breaks through that demand zone and brings us to the bottom of our acceptance area based on the market profile. So again, we can take a look at that, and we'll show you here. So all of this area represented by volume is telling us where we want to see this thing trade to. And also previous day sessions have told us that price can get down here. It hasn't gotten much lower. Okay, in fact, it really hasn't gotten any lower at all. But what it's doing is it's giving us a very good target. Okay, sell at the top. Okay, targets and potential buying opportunities at the bottom. Okay, the amateurs are buying up here and trying to sell down here and then getting stopped out and wondering what they did wrong. So wherever the volume is, and especially where we can determine these areas based on the 30-minute candlesticks in combination with the market profile, it's going to make you a very dangerous trader, and I mean that in a good way. So this, in my opinion, was the trade of the day. You had similar reactions in Dow, or I'm sorry, in ES and in NASDAQ, but this one really took you from target area for entries to target areas for exits, and then this thing turned right back around, and, you know, if I was a little bit quicker, I could have gotten in on the long position and potentially doubled up. But I yielded about $685 on this trade. Always looking to do better, but that's a great start for the beginning of the week. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. And let me throw that up there real quick. Husky Trading Solutions. Sorry guys, I got a million things here. One more second. There we go. All right. Again, my name is Chris. Please feel free to contact me at any time. Hopefully that was helpful, and we try to do this for you guys every day. Thanks a lot, guys.